Performance-minded compact SUVs are getting progressively more credible. Here's a case in point, the Volkswagen T-Roc R. A crossover's never going to be the perfect starting point for a shopping rocket, but this one's been very thoroughly engineered to deliver most of the driving enjoyment of its similarly engineered Golf R counterpart. 300 PS, 4-motion 4-wheel drive, a throaty exhaust, a 445-litre boot, and quite a lot of street-side presence. What's not to like? When the Golf R first arrived back in 2009, we imagined it might pave the way to a whole series of R-branded fast Volkswagens. In the event, it took a decade for the R range to be expanded beyond the Golf lineup, with this car, the T-Roc R. Where once Volkswagen would have added the R performance tinsel to conventional models like the Polo or the Passat, it says much for the current state of the market that beyond the Golf range, and possibly the ID.3 EV, it's limiting the tuning scope of Jost Capito's R tuning division to its SUVs. A Touareg R can be had if you have to buy the fastest Volkswagen SUV possible. In the real world, though, this T-Roc R would probably be quicker point to point. But how close can it get to replicating the Golf R experience? Volkswagen R boss Jost Capito and his team started off with the usual Wolfsburg recipe for compact performance models, namely the award-winning EA 888 version of the 2-litre TSI petrol turbo engine in 300 PS form, plus 4-motion 4-wheel drive and a DSG 7-speed paddle shift auto gearbox. Pretty much what you'll find in a Golf R, and exactly as you'll find it with this car's two Volkswagen Group cousins, the Audi SQ2 and the Cupra Attica. Well, perhaps not quite exactly. Capito's engineers had to put quite a lot of specific effort in to make this formula really work for the T-Roc. An aluminium subframe borrowed from the old Golf GTI has been fitted at the front for lower weight and extra stiffness. There's a 20mm drop in ride height over a standard T-Roc, and the springs are 20% stiffer. The brakes are borrowed from the old Golf GTI Performance Pack model with bigger pads, and there are shorter gear ratios and specific damping settings, plus the option of dynamic chassis control adaptive damping, which you can't have on an Audi SQ2, and which is really a must-have addition if you're to be able to experience everything the dynamics of this car can offer. A fatter rear spoiler improves downforce at high speeds, and there's a standard drive mode system with a throaty race setting, which really comes alive if you pay a ludicrous amount extra for the throaty Akrapovic exhaust. 62 miles an hour from rest takes just 4.8 seconds en route to an actual, not limited, top speed of 155 miles an hour. You select your drive mode settings via this circular dial between the seats. Press for modes. In the standard car, the two others are Eco and Normal, plus there's an individual settings menu if you want to set your own parameters. If you've specified the dynamic chassis control adaptive damping, you'll get an extra comfort setting too. The outer part of this settings dial allows you to select snow and off-road settings for the 4-wheel drive system. But this car is far more at home on tarmac, even circuit tarmac. To that end, there's even a lap timer, should you be minded to take your T-Roc R on track. Volkswagen has done its best to make this T-Roc R stand out from its humbler showroom stablemates. The front gets a more distinctive radiator grille bearing the R logo, and in place of the usual front fog lights, LED daytime running lights are set into the front bumper. From the side, you might notice that widened wheel arches surround the 19-inch Pretoria alloy wheels and complement the black brake calipers, complete with R logos. There's also matte chrome effect covers for the door mirrors and lowered R Sport suspension, Plus, you can optionally specify the contrasting black finish we have here for the roof and A-pillars. The rear features smoked LED tail lights, an understated but assertive boot spoiler, and a black diffuser. Plus, the specially designed rear bumper houses an R GmbH hallmark for chrome-finished tailpipes. Inside, the cabin features a smattering of R logos on the door sill protectors, the front seat backrests, and the leather-trimmed multifunction sports steering wheel. Plus, there's ambient lighting, gloss black decor, stainless steel pedals, and grey contrast stitching for the carpet mats. Otherwise, it's much as in any other T-Roc, which means there's rather too much hard plastic trimming about for a car of this price. That's one of the reasons why it's probably worth keeping some budget aside to lift the cabin ambience a bit. This test car's interior is all very blue because it has an optional coloured dash pack. This is Lapis Blue Matte, with that colour featuring on the dash, the centre console and the door panels. It also features an upholstery upgrade. The seats here finished in a carbon nappa leather combination. As usual in a T-Roc, a high-set, glass-fronted Discover Navigation 8-inch infotainment screen dominates the centre stack. It comes complete with sat-nav and the usual DAB stereo, Bluetooth phone and car informational functions, along with Volkswagen's clever App Connect setup for smartphone mirroring. You also view a further TFT monitor through this 3-spoke steering wheel, a digitalised, customisable instrument binnacle screen. It's certainly effective in deflecting attention away from some of the fascia's hard, brittle surfacing. We're getting used to this kind of thing from various brands now, a 12.3-inch TFT screen that completely replaces the conventional instrument binnacle dials and can be configured to show analog look gauges, a full screen sat-nav and various stages in between. In this R model, it gets the extra addition of a lap timer. Enough on infotainment. What else might you need to know about the front cabin of this T-Roc? Well, getting settled behind the 3-spoke sports steering wheel is easy thanks to the wide range of adjustment on offer. The supportive comfort seat design is, well, comfortable, and headroom's much better than it is in a Golf thanks to the 81mm higher roofline. That helps rearward visibility too. The chunky C-pillar isn't as obstructive as it is with a comparable Audi SQ2, for instance. Let's take a look in the back seat. Now, as in the standard model, there's comfortable space for a couple of adults on the back seat. You might expect headroom to be a touch restricted given the coupe-like rear styling and the fact that rear passengers sit 46mm higher than those at the front. As it turns out, a couple of 6-foot passengers can just about sit behind a couple of equally lanky front seat occupants with some degree of comfort. Accommodating 3 reasonably sized people back here will be more of a challenge thanks to this prominent centre transmission tunnel. Out back, there's a decently sized boot measuring 445 litres when loaded up to the top of the second row seat backrests. Fold the rear bench and 1,290 litres of space can be freed up. From launch, this T-Roc R was priced from just over £39,000. It comes only with a DSG 7-speed auto gearbox and only in fixed top form. The idea of a T-Roc R cabriolet is interesting, but Volkswagen says there are no plans for such a thing. To give you some perspective on the pricing here, the next sporty T-Roc model down in the range, the R-Line 2-litre TSI 4Motion variant with 190 PS and the same auto DSG box, costs around £35,000. So for this top R variant, you're paying around £3,500 more for the extra power, a bit more chassis tuning, some extra equipment and a few additional sporty bits. That's a similar pricing proposition to this model's identically engineered VW Group sporty compact SUV cousins, the Audi SQ2 and the Cupra Attica. That's a significant outlay, so you'll be expecting plenty to come as standard, in which case you shouldn't be disappointed. We've talked about the outward embellishments in our design and build section, so we'll focus here on the interior niceties. You might expect full leather upholstery for this kind of money, but instead the front sports seats are trimmed in race cloth, though they do get embroidered R branding, which also features on the 3-spoke multifunction leather stitch steering wheel. There's also a powered tailgate and a 10.3-inch active info display digital instrument cluster, which works in conjunction with an 8-inch Discover navigation centre dash infotainment screen. These two monitors combine to create a digital and interactive cockpit with a wide range of online services and apps accessible via smartphone and the usual Volkswagen CarNet media connectivity system. The key extras here lie with DCC adaptive damping, pretty important to have, and the optional Akrapovic exhaust, a cool £3,000 more, but gloriously sonorous. We'd also want to upgrade the cabin with one of the dashboard colour packs and an upholstery upgrade. You can also add the roof pack we have here, which gives you contrasting black finishing for the roof and A-pillar. Maybe also keyless entry and a winter pack, which includes heated windscreen washer jets. As for safety kit, well, like all T-Rocs, this one gets a front assist autonomous braking system that at speed scans the road ahead as you drive, looking for potential accident hazards, warning you if one is detected and automatically braking if necessary. You get that same kind of functionality at urban speeds too, as part of a city emergency braking system included as part of the front assist package. This setup also includes predictive pedestrian protection that specifically searches for pedestrians who might be about to step out in front of you and, if necessary, can initiate braking to avoid them. If you're happy to pay more, a Driver's Assistance Pack Plus package is available, which includes 4 key features. There's Emergency Assist, which can bring the car to a controlled stop if you're taken ill. Side Scan, which alerts you if you're dangerously about to pull out in front of another vehicle. Traffic Jam Assist, which can basically drive the car for you in low-speed traffic queues. Plus, you get High Beam Assist for the headlights. In addition, you can also specify pre-crash preventative occupant protection, which senses when an impact is inevitable and braces the car to better withstand it. As you'd expect, the T-Roc R is class competitive in terms of running costs. WLTP CO2 emissions are rated at 197 grams per kilometre, and the WLTP combined cycle fuel consumption is rated at 32.5 miles to the gallon. For comparison, a T-Roc R-Line 2-litre TSI 4Motion 190 PS DSG model puts out 186 grams per kilometre and manages up to 34.4 miles to the gallon. The BIK tax rating is up at 37%. As for servicing, well, as usual with Volkswagen models, there's a choice of either fixed or flexible maintenance packages. You'll choose the fixed approach if you cover less than 10,000 miles a year, and with this, the car will typically be looked at every 12 months. If your daily commute is more than 25 miles and your T-Roc will regularly be driven on longer distance journeys, you'll be able to work with a flexible regime that can see you travelling up to 18,000 miles between garage visits, or every 2 years, whichever is sooner. And warranties? Well, the standard package is 3 years and 60,000 miles. Of the 3 Volkswagen Group compact SUVs that share this car's 2-litre turbo 300 PS 4Motion formula, this T-Roc R seems at first glance the most credible option. The Cupra Attica feels a bit contrived, and the Audi SQ2 can't be had with the crucial option of adaptive damping. Plus, this Volkswagen seems more thoroughly engineered by a team who've managed to get closer than expected to replicating the exemplary drive dynamics of this model's Golf R cousin. They haven't quite managed it, of course. An SUV is never going to be quite as agile or as confidence-inspiring as a conventional hatch. But with this T-Roc R, there are compensations of extra practicality, and if you stretch to the optional Akrapovic exhaust, you'll at least feel more dynamic. It's all about perception, you see. The people who created this car understand that.